Good morning, students. Everyone is familiar with the term peer, and now we are going to deal with peer assessment. What is peer assessment? Students are taking responsibility for assessing the work of their peers against set assessment criteria. A criteria is set, and based on that, students are making an assessment. So based on this, they provide a feedback to their peers. So it is also called as peer review. It's a powerful metacognitive tool. That is, it engages students in the learning process and develops their capacity to reflect on and critically evaluate their own learning and skill development. That's the meaning of metacognitive tool. So it helps while they are trying to assess the students, it will also help them to develop or evaluate their own learning. And finally, it is the assessment of students' work by other students of equal status. That is the meaning of peer. You have been assessed by other students of equal status. In this slide, my question is, why use peer assessment? Because it will empower students to take responsibility for and manage their own learning. They learn to provide constructive feedback, and it enhances students' learning through knowledge diffusion and exchange of ideas. They become more engaged with the course material while they are trying to make peer assessment. In this slide, I have mentioned the tools for peer assessment: rubrics, portfolio, journals. We have already covered what is meant by rubric, a portfolio, etc. What's a rubric? It's a tool used to interpret and grade students' work against the set criteria. What's a portfolio? It's a collection of students' work, academic work. What's a journal? It's a place for students to reflect in writing about their own learning. How to implement peer assessment? Teacher plays a very important role. Teacher must give clear guidelines, train students based on these guidelines, require assessors to justify the judgment. Whatever judgment is given, he has to justify that. A very cordial classroom environment must be there, and he must be confident in evaluating their peers. And before the final grade is given, the teacher and the student has to share the responsibility of deciding the final grade. We are continuing with the previous slide, and there will be a lot of feedback provided, both constructive and destructive. Make use of or focus on useful feedback, and try to use small feedback groups so that the feedback can be discussed with the concerned person. Even if you are criticizing your peer, be as supportive as possible. Provide or help students to evaluate their own work, and they will become self-directed learners. Train students in interpreting the feedback. Now let's go through the merits of peer assessment. It develops the capacity to reflect on and evaluate their own learning and skill development. Students can evaluate their own learning. And peer assessment has an acceptably high level of validity and reliability because we are using the structured marking schemes. It's a positive experience for the students. That is, they appreciate its value in exposing a wide range of learning activities to critical and more public review, including class discussions and debates. And finally, they take ownership of the assessment process. In addition to the merits mentioned in the previous slide, it also deals to the development of generic skills and attributes. They learn to work cooperatively, think critically, provide constructive feedback, learn from the critical appraisal, manage one's own learning, develop interpersonal skills, and develop an awareness of group dynamics. Finally, let us look at the demerits or disadvantages of peer assessment. It is time consuming. Risk of peer pressure to apply elevated grades. At times, we have the tendency to award everyone the same mark and reluctant to make judgments regarding their peers. So today we have dealt with peer assessment. Why use peer assessment? Different tools of peer assessment, merits and demerits. Thank you.